Man, my haircut makes me look like a well-adjusted adult, unlike some of these people. Hello, and welcome back to America's Favorite Game Show, the series where I'm going through and rejecting all the people in Pokemon Soul Silver who ask for you, a 10-year-old's phone number, and gauging their rejection line. This is part 4 where we can go over the gym leader rejection lines, but specifically we're only going to do the Johto Gym Leaders this time because there are 16 gym leaders in total, and they have enough backstory that they deserve their own thing for each of the 8 gym leaders. And that'll make more sense the more we get into it. Because unlike the rest of the trainers in the game, you don't just get asked about a phone number when you beat this person. The gym leaders, you actually have to hunt them down on specific days, often at specific times. So Faulkner's line of, "You don't, I thought you were smarter than that. Oh well, you'll change your mind eventually," doesn't make a lot of sense out of context. But the reason he says it is because you find him having a Nepo baby argument about whose dad is better between him and Janine in the Celadon department store. And him asking you if you think his dad is better is how he's asking you for his phone number. So, negative any number you want to choose out of 10. This is terrible. Bugsy hits you with a, "Oh well, that's okay." So realistically, that's fine. He can keep exploring Viridian Forest, 7 out of 10. Whitney hits you with a classic Whitney line of "Don't be so mean." It's just very on brand for her, and just for that alone, I'll give it a 2 out of 10, but it's not very well adjusted, but she's not a very well adjusted adult anyway. Morty says, "Oh, that's a shame," which is kind of neutral, so we'll give it a neutral 5 out of 10. Chuck's wife says, "Oh, I see. My husband won't be a good match." So that just means to me that Chuck himself does not know how to operate his phone, and his wife handles all his phone calls, which is on brand for him, but as a rejection message on her part is like about midline. So it's really like a 4 out of 10, but just it's hilarious that it's just on brand for Chuck for him to be incapable of doing anything but training. He doesn't know what technology is. You find Jasmine in a cafe, and she's like sitting there and she's talking about, "These aren't dirty dishes, aren't mine," implying that she's a foodie and girl eats. That's good for her. But when you reject her, she says, "Oh, I understand," which is pretty good, so 8 out of 10. Price hits you with, "That's okay too. People ought to have their own ideas. That's the way it is," which is one of the most well-adjusted responses in the series, so 10 out of 10. Go Price. I don't think anybody expected less from his character. He's a pretty, well-put-together gym leader when you talk to him in the first place, so makes sense. And finally, Clair. Clair is incredibly frustrating to actually get because you have to fight a 6-on-6 double battle with your rival against her and Lance, and all the Pokemon are at level 70, so it's actually pretty difficult to get to her, but when you finally get to her and you reject her for getting her phone number, she gives you the best Clair line. Because up until this point, Clair is very obsessed with the idea that she's better and she's very haughty, and so you've got this kind of tsundere of eventually she's developing a decent ability to communicate with you and develop a decent conversation, and she finally gives you her phone number and you shut her down, and she says nothing. She's dumbstruck. There's no grade. This is just perfect.